Welcome to Unfiltered and Unstoppable with Romesburg. Real strategies for real advisors, a podcast that dives into what it takes to scale a thriving financial practice. Each week, we'll discuss actionable strategies, tools, and insights to keep you ahead in today's financial landscape. From innovative products and powerful marketing tactics, you'll get unfiltered truth and unstoppable strategies. Let's get started by building your unstoppable financial practice today.
All right. Welcome back to Unfiltered and Unstoppable. I'm your host, Rob Romesburg, and this week we are diving into one of the most powerful yet misunderstood growth tools in the advisor's marketing arsenal, and that is online educational webinars. Um, I have seen a lot of attempts of working with these webinars over the years, and most of them were done wrong. Most of them were done incorrectly. So yeah, they had the deck of slides. However, with those deck of slides, they had all kinds of jargon and quite frankly, a very cold and hard pitch that just turns people off in the webinar world. That's just not what flies at all. However, with that all being said, when done right, a great webinar is designed to position you as the expert. It will definitely attract qualified prospects. And at the end of it, turn all of those qualified prospects into real appointments and real clients. And that's primarily why I'm so excited about today's conversation, because our guest, he knows this world better than almost anyone out there. He has worked behind the scenes of hundreds, maybe even thousands of advisors' webinars out there. And we're not just talking about clicks. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about impressions and all that social media stuff. What we are talking about is real world conversion from the appointments into clients, all done via online. So if you will help me welcome today Mr. Keith Cooper from RA Marketing. Keith, welcome, my friend.
Hey, Rob, thanks, man. Thanks for having me. And it's been awesome to interact with you on LinkedIn and seeing your posts and the value, that you are bringing out there and everything. So it's a pleasure to be here in this format with you.
Man, I really appreciate you. If you don't mind, just give us a little 30-second commercial about you and RA Marketing and why anyone listening should really care.
Well, for that, I got to put my famous red hat on. So here we go. This is no, it's game time, and we're serious. And
yeah, all of a sudden, Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit hopped on.
Do you know how often I get that? I mean, people come up to me all day long when I'm at events. I'm on stage, and I wear it like this on stage at all the events we go to, and people just come up to me like, "Is it one of those days? Do you just want to break stuff?" I'm like,
"Yeah, 100%.
Never heard that before." Well, RA Marketing, briefly, we're owned by advisors, run by advisors. The two owners are both independent wealth management guys. They both have their own independent practice, life, annuity, AUM. And our lead digital marketer is a licensed life and annuity guy. I am married to a producer. And so this is in our blood. And so when we talk about marketing, the only kind of marketing that we do is for advisors, agents, people in the financial services space. That's it. We have no other vertical. And the good news is we can truly say that by experience, we know that this tends to work. And by experience, we know that this tends not to work. It's not theory. It's not because we took a class on it. We do it every day for our owners in the field, and they bring back great feedback. Our empathy, therefore, is really deep. And so, we like to call ourselves a force multiplier. That's a kind of a term we throw around, and we don't take it lightly. We try to do that for advisors and all that we do. And so I'd say we're not the right firm for everybody who's looking for marketing. If you're looking for a partner that's just kind of a vendor that you treat like your phone company, That's not us. If you want a real partner, though, that will dig in, that we know we're not perfect, but we're going to get it right. We're going to stay in the batter's box with you. That's who we try to be. And so, yeah, we don't work with everyone who calls us up, and we're just fine with that. So the main things we do are event marketing, and we're going to get into this, but we do seminars and workshops. That's the majority of what we do, in-person seminars and workshops. But we also happen to have a ton of experience in webinars. And there is a vast difference, a chasm of difference between the two.
Yeah, you're right, and that's exactly why I appreciate you being here. You and your team over at RA Marketing, you have been helping advisors really rethink uh, how education and trust, more than anything, will drive the growth in the webinar world. And that's what I mean by webinars are the best example of that. And so today we're going to talk about, the how and the why webinars work today. Uh,
Mhm.
More importantly, how to structure them, what you need to do as an advisor to turn the audience engagement into actual business. And I have personally seen it with the advisors that I work with. So that's why I'm excited to have you here, man. Does that sound good?
Yeah, it sounds perfect. I just as kind of an intro and a framework, we know back in the COVID timeframe, everyone went into webinars. And it's not like webinars weren't happening before that. They were. I mean,
Yeah,
advisors since 08, 09 were doing like go-to-meeting kind of webinars and doing virtual appointments. COVID absolutely catapulted those who weren't doing those things forward and giving them to try. And I think something we'll get into is for most advisors, that was an exercise in frustration and lighting money on fire.
yeah,
Um, it is a very different animal. And there are some advisors, however, that we know who transformed their practice to a virtual practice, and they only do webinars. They gave up the big office, they did all that, and they only do webinars now because, and I'm talking like maybe 10% of
mhm,
those from the COVID era that got thrust into having to do something because everything was shut down. Couldn't
yeah,
go do the dinner restaurant, couldn't go to the library.
right,
And so maybe 10% of them figured it out and they've never looked back.
yeah,
And that doesn't have to be you. I'm not saying that you have to be
sure,
totally virtual, that you have to only do webinars, but there is certainly a better way to do them. And what I'm going to say is a less effective way to do them.
yeah. But during that time period, during that COVID world, most of them that did it, it was just a backup plan, and
Right.
that's the thing that we want to make clear today is that for those folks that took advantage of it and held on and really figured it out, it's not a backup plan to them. It's definitely one of the most efficient, scalable ways to reach definitely pre-retirees and also retirees with real education. And it's something that I've said a lot of things about that COVID era. However, one of the most thankful uh, reasons I have for the COVID era is Zoom and
Mhm.
Teams and webinars. I have advisors now that only work on their appointments via.
Precisely. Yeah. It really catapulted that forward 7 to 10 years.
Mhm,
Right. And again, that those kind of things were already happening, but the other thing it did too, like one of the reasons I think in mass that webinars weren't as successful as people hoped they would be during COVID
mhm,
was because the public hadn't yet matured around the idea of virtual advice. And it helped the public mature around that, but it still took some time. Well,
yeah,
2.5 to 3 years ago, we felt the shift in like we have our finger on the pulse of things, right? In the marketing world, how the audience is responding to what's out there in the public. And we felt the shift. I mean, we literally felt it to where the public was much more open to this idea of virtual advice, to learning over webinars, to learning virtually. I mean, you can pay for virtual fitness training appointments. There are
yeah,
mechanics who will get on YouTube, I'm sorry, not YouTube, but on Zoom with you and walk you through changing the oil. There's telemedicine. And my whole point, Rob, is that this has shifted, this has changed. And so it was rough for some getting going, but webinars, the more years we've come, have become more and more effective because, yes, advisors have gotten better, refined the system, understood them better, but also the public is much more open now than they have been in the past.
So that explains, why webinars are working in today's environment. For those that are taking advantage of webinars, why is it working so well for them? Like what?
Right, right. So one thing you have to let's talk about the difference between an in-person workshop or seminar, right? An in-person kind of event versus webinars. And I think what a lot of advisors are used to, they stand up in front of a room of 30 people. You're sharing the same air. You get to shake hands. You get to laugh a little bit together. There's a quicker bridge to some level of trust.
Mhm.
And you get to set appointments. I mean, your assistant is there, or you're there, you're setting appointments at the event, which, my goodness, guys, I hope you're doing that, right?
Yeah, for
Set
sure.
appointments at the event. Just don't check a yes box and call them later, if you can at all do it. So when it comes to webinars, you haven't breathed the same air. You haven't shared a meal. You haven't sat together and answered questions directly necessarily. So that bridge to that initial level of trust really hasn't come. So
Mhm.
what you have to do is approach it a little bit more gentler when you're doing a webinar with, and then follow up
Yeah.
appointments. So, for example, if I do a seminar or a webinar and I'm an advisor, maybe I'm going to ask them to fill out my full fact finder, to bring in their financial statements, all on that first visit, and to be really prepared to dig in. If you do that up from an appointment on a webinar, you're going to find that you scare maybe half of them away, and they just won't show up. They'll just ditch you, and ghost you. And that's because of being just treating it like you do a seminar. You're not doing anything necessarily out of pocket per se or out of line,
Sure.
but you're treating it wrong. And you just have to understand the bridge to trust takes longer. Those who are being successful at webinars truly understand that. And so the follow-up meeting from a webinar might be more like, as you're closing the webinar. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we're offering is a 15-minute impact call.
Yeah.
And what we'll do in that call is I'm going to answer any questions you have, and we'll just talk. And if I think I can make an impact for you, I'll tell you.
Mhm.
And from there, we can, you take it from there. So it's more not like a first appointment. It's like 0.5
Right.
appointment, right?
Right.
There's a lot of other things in there, but that's one thing we see advisors make mistakes on, is treating it just like they do a seminar or workshop kind of appointment. It's not.
For sure.
Uh,
The thing is what makes a seminar, uh, an in-person seminar impactful is trust, right? And it is education.
yeah,
However, in the webinar world, more than anything else that you've ever done, you really have to build that trust. You really have to be educating, and you cannot under any circumstances have that stench of a salesperson. Without a doubt, you
yeah,
cannot do that in the webinar world. And so when you're doing the webinar, the best thing that you could do is 100% make it about education. Don't make it about selling from the slide.
yeah,
You want to make sure that you're leading 100% with value. Without a doubt, you've got to 100% make sure the foundation there is about trust before that, as you brilliantly said, point five appointment, not the first appointment, but the point five
yeah,
appointment.
yeah.
And then from there,
Build.
that build it, really build it from there, right?
And you also have to understand, like, so I have a love-hate relationship with webinars. I
Yeah,
mean,
sure.
let's just call it what it is. I mean, sometimes advisors can't wait do 4 to 6 appointments before you gain a client.
Mhm.
That's more like a webinar track rather than 2 or 3.
Yeah.
It's easier for them to not show up for an appointment. There's very little you can do about it. From a webinar, it is highly unlikely, in other words, that you're going to have someone who's local to come to your office, because with webinar marketing, you're going to be casting a very wide net. It's not a 20-mile radius around your office. That does not work.
Yeah.
It's multiple states, even time zones. We have one gal who focuses by time zone. She does one webinar a month. She records a new one every month, but airs it 4 different times. One week is Western, the next week is Mountain, the next week is Central, the next week is Eastern. And she gathers appointments all from that. But it creates a massive amount of appointments when done right.
All right.
And yes, those appointments a lot of times are a quick 10 to 15 minute impact call or whatever you want to call it. But that is a better approach than treating it like an appointment directly coming from a webinar. I'm sorry, from a seminar or workshop that you've met them in person with. And then, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're all right. No, great. No worries. So let's get tactical real quick. So we all love this idea of, oh my gosh, I'm going to have this high conversion webinar. Here's the problem though. Anyone that's doing a webinar for the first couple of times, they're clueless on how to really structure it, right?
Yeah.
So if you were to break down the true anatomy of an actual successful educational webinar from topic to follow-up, what are some of the non-negotiables? I know we're kind of touching on it a little bit.
Yeah, no, this is good. So you're talking about the actual presentation itself, right? And
yeah, so the structure, the topic, the
okay.
registration, the call to action.
Let me just tell you from the marketing side what topics really move the needle right now.
Great.
Okay. We have taxes and retirement or the tax-free retirement story. That makes people show up. Seminars or webinars. Estate planning, seminars or webinars that makes people show up. And asset-based long-term care or the long-term care discussion, man, that moves the needle too. Does Social Security and Medicare still work? Yeah. Does RMD still work? Does a general retirement planning seminar still work? Yeah. But we have found the more focused you are on a topic, like long-term care or not going broke in a nursing home or something like that. Now, you might cover some other things, but if that's the focus of the marketing, you're going to have better results in registrations and attendance. Yeah. If you have one on tax-free retirement or tax-efficient retirement, same kind of thing. People are interested in those topics versus, yeah, we're just going to have a generic retirement planning one where we talk about taxes, inflation, fees, market volatility, and try to check all the boxes. The more ambiguous you are or general you are, the lower your attendance rates and registrations will be in general. There are some exceptions, but in general. All right. Now, the webinar itself, Rob, is like this. You can do it live or you can pre-record it. You can do either. If it's pre-recorded or live, there are 2 ways to go about it. You can either schedule it for Wednesday at 6:30, right? So a date and time when it airs, and drive a whole bunch of traffic to that date.
Right.
Or you can do an on-demand webinar where it's always live. Someone has to, enter their name, email, phone number, or whatever, and then they get to watch it right away. As you might imagine, there are pros and cons to both.
What? It's, to me, just sitting here listening to you, it's a no-brainer to do it recorded. Why would I choose the live over recorded?
So the only reason is if you feel like you perform better when it's live, when you know it's live. It's okay to make mistakes, even if you are recording it. It's okay to, flub over your words, make fun of yourself for a minute and move on. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But pre-recording it does allow you a lot of control. And what it allows us to do on the backside that we can't do when it's live is we add a whole bunch of calls to action every 6 to 8 minutes throughout the webinar. A soft call to action or a strong call to action. But we can add those and have them automated, whether it's your calendar link or a hot tip. We put those things up, and it just makes the webinar a little more engaging, which is ironic for me to say because it is recorded. Yeah. On the flip side, if it's live, you can take real questions right then and there and answer it, make it a little more interactive. We don't have any data to say one is better than the other.
Sure. Got it. So let's... Okay, so we've had the webinar. Let's talk a little bit about turning the attendees into appointments. So
Okay.
What happens after the webinar? Because I, I'm
Well,
certain, I guarantee you, this is exactly where the advisors that struggle with webinars, struggle with appointments, this is where they're dropping the ball. So they're hosting the event, people show up, great attendance, there's engagement, and then oh my God, nothing happened. So tell us what separates that advisor who is filling their calendar from the ones who are not.
yep. Let's talk about the advisor that or the type of webinar that does create a best appointment, and then we'll go into making them stick and having an effective first appointment.
Great.
The kind of presentation, yeah, and this is true for in person too. So maybe take a note here, but you want to demonstrate the concepts that you're teaching.
Okay.
You want to do that through story and a case study.
Yeah.
If you just put out information, listen, guys, people can Google information. People can get on AI and find information. They see it all day long on their stock app. Information alone will never get people to respond to you. I'm sorry.
No, you're right. Yeah.
So, what we want to do is say we were talking about potentially Roth conversions and how they might impact you for positive or negative, right? Say we were talking about that. Fine, we're talking about it. We're giving, some scenarios. But now it's time to do a case study. So you show before and after. Here's an IRA, for example, or a qualified account. Here's what the taxes throughout lifetime might look like. Here are the taxes on Social Security. It might cause that collateral damage. Here are the IRMA surcharges it might cause if left as they are. And you quantify it, right? Because you've been sharing concept, put dollars to it. Now quantify it. It's like, okay, so this is, Bill's situation, right? We got Bill and Judy. Here's their situation. This is what their tax bill might look like. Now, if we entertain a conversion strategy, here's what their tax bill might look like. And you're showing, no or little taxes on distributions, no or few taxes on Social Security suddenly. Maybe you have some conversion taxes, but in the end, it's 20% of what the current tax bill might be if you left it as it is, or the current track. Anyway, so you're putting dollars to a real case study. And then secondly, so that's firstly, but secondly, the lead magnet that you're giving away, maybe it's Stonewood's retirement tax bill analysis report or the tax scorecard or something like that, right? Maybe it's something that you're giving away. Whatever you're giving away, make that the solution in the case study.
Got it.
Now you are helping people take a mental test drive of, firstly, not only what you might be able to do for them, even though their situation is probably a little different, that's okay. But you're also demonstrating what you want them to be excited about and why. And so now they're excited. They have seen in action, they've seen it, the retirement tax burden analysis or whatever it is that you're giving away. Or maybe it's an annuity alpha report, or it's something. Demonstrate it in a case study.
Right.
Then have your Calendly link right there, ready to go. It should pop up on the webinar. Ask people for the appointment or a visit, right? I don't like the word appointment, but set a visit. A strategy session is a little bit silly to me as well. But listen, set a visit with us. We'll provide you the blah, blah, blah report, and let's see what an impact it might be for you. And having that kind of call to action and that kind of close and demonstrating what you're actually giving away will increase your appointments. Okay, so that's getting the appointment. And there's a lot of behavior. That my background is behavioral economics. So that there's a lot of behavioral elements to that as to why you want to do exactly what I just said. And you will see your appointments go up. It doesn't replace being vulnerable. It doesn't replace being human and approach. It doesn't replace any of that. Right. It enhances all of that. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's getting the appointment. Then one thing that webinars struggle with, Rob, is appointments sticking.
Yeah.
Because again, it's easier. They haven't met you in person for all, you're just a face like we are here. Yeah. It was interesting, but now they have to go pick up Johnny from baseball and Susie from ballet. And seriously, they're off. They forget they're human. They're just like you, right? We forget stuff. We prioritize it below other things sometimes. So what we encourage everyone to do, you can have text and email reminders, do all that. That's fine. But send them something physical if you can.
Love it.
Send them something they can touch
Yeah.
and feel. Like, for example, we do a lot of Tom Hegna webinars.
Yeah.
One of the things that we teach everyone to do if they're doing the paychecks and playchecks one is as soon as they set an appointment, don't send them the PDF of the book. Don't send them a Kindle version of whatever book it is. Or if it's Stonewood's New Holistic Retirement, don't send this.
Yeah.
I don't care if their appointment is tomorrow. I hope it is, right? Like, I hope their appointment is tomorrow. They won't get it ahead of time. That's okay. Send them an email, or better yet, send them a Loom or a bomb video of, hey, Judy, thanks for setting an appointment. I know it's tomorrow, but listen, on its way to you is the book we promised, and it's coming. I'm looking forward to meeting you tomorrow at 6. Have anything ready you want to talk about, but it's your time, and we'll get through it, and looking forward to seeing you. The end, 30-second video.
Yeah.
So bomb and Loom videos are a big deal in helping appointments stick. It's personalized. Don't do the, I mean, I know we can make videos, Rob, of just, hey, thanks for setting an appointment. And it's meant to be evergreen and you can use it all the time.
Yeah.
If you get 7 appointments from your webinar, take 30 seconds per appointment and do a personalized little
100%.
bomb video.
Yep.
My gosh, you'll see your stick rate go up. And when they get something physical in the mail, even if it's before the appointment, you'll see a higher stick rate. If it's after the appointment and they somehow missed it, they're more likely to reschedule. So that's what we see. Okay, I'm telling you this isn't theory either. This is what advisors are doing who are having success with webinars. They understand it's a longer sales cycle. They understand the bridge to trust is a little longer. They are gentler in their approach, but they do not give up. I'm not saying give up.
More than anything with the webinar world, you're not chasing prospects. You are continuing the conversation, right?
Absolutely right.
This is not the traditional sales funnel. I would even call it a trust funnel.
I love that.
Yeah. You want to make sure that, and I said this at the beginning, this is not about selling people. And of course, I know when we say do seminars, we are educating, not selling. But more than anything, we need to make sure that prospect feels supported throughout this process. That's why when you're sending out the physical book, that's just such a wonderful idea.
We want to touch something. Think about how powerful that is, again, from a behavioral standpoint. And this is my nerd, cultural economics and policy degree coming out. When we touch something, it becomes real. And if you think about, we saw something on Facebook and we registered, we got text and email, and we saw something online, we watched the webinar online. All of that is digital.
Yeah.
And it's fine because there is a level to which it is effective. But as soon as I touch something related to it, it's very different.
Yeah.
Right. And it seeps into us. It becomes more authentic. Gosh, I just had something I really wanted to hammer on. It'll come back to me. But education. Yeah. If you educate people enough, never webinar or any kind of follow-up, never simply say, hey, I'm just following up. Would you like to reschedule or something like that? They know you can ask for that. Or if you're presented a plan, you're doing, you've met 2 or 3 or 4 times, you presented the plan, they're thinking about it, they're talking to people about it. Hey, just following up, see if you want to move forward, that kind of thing. Okay, but every follow-up, add value, right? It's, hey, John, hope you're doing great. Let me know if you have any questions. By the way, I came across the new Social Security tables and IRMA tables that were just released. Thought I'd send you this neat piece on it.
Yeah.
Add value with every single thing.
I imagine you've heard of Jeremy Miner. He's one of my favorite guys out there, sales guys out there, and he calls following up the ultimate F word, which it definitely is. So let's just zoom out here for a second and let's because you and I both know that a great webinar can't just live in isolation, and those advisors that are really winning right now with the webinar model, they more than anything treat webinars as a system and not an event. So how do you recommend that an advisor, how do they make webinars a consistent part of their marketing?
Well, many advisors are already out there doing seminars and webinars. I'm sorry, seminars and workshops in person.
Sure.
I would say start by adding this as another line in the water on the other side of the boat. So keep doing what you're doing, add webinars in there, and understand you may do 2 or 3 webinars before you close a piece of business.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you'll goose egg the first 1 or 2. You could, but what I'm saying is the sales cycle is longer. But if you start, don't give up what is working for you. Add this as another line in the water. That's one way you can do it. There are people who dedicate to it, as I said at the beginning, and this is all they do. Just
Sure.
webinar, their virtual practice. If you want to do that, that is a long-term burn. It may take you a year to build up to where you've now done 12 to 30 seminars in that, or webinars in that year. And the snowball is eventually so big that you forget where your new clients are coming from, because it does work. It's a smaller snowball at first,
The,
but
the
it
the
does.
webinar system is definitely, especially at the beginning, is absolutely an addition to. It's
I
not a
would say that.
replacement of. It is an addition to what you're already doing. It is not something to where you're like, okay, I'm going to totally replace it with this. And
Yeah.
no, it is an addition to. But back to your point, which was great, consistency compounds. The one webinar is not going to change your business. Guarantee you, it's not.
Mhm.
However, the system of the education absolutely will. And so you've seen the full spectrum of this. You've seen those that have straight up fallen on their face. You've seen the advisors that have nailed it, and those that maybe didn't nail it right away, but they learned it the hard way.
Yeah.
What would you say are some of the biggest lessons that you've seen come out of this
You know,
process?
I would say have a gut check with yourself. Sometimes advisors need to really sit down and have a kneecap to kneecap conversation with themselves
Mhm.
about whether or not this is a system, now that we know a little bit more about it from our discussion today, that they want to adopt, because it's not something you dip your toe in the water and do. It's a decision you make. It's not something you try, it's a decision.
Yeah.
I am going to do webinars as part of my practice. Understand it might be 6 to 12 months of going at it and going at it. Understand it's a gentler sales process. Understand that it could take 4 to 6 meetings. You're not driving anywhere. There's the leverage of that. You're not buying anyone a steak on the webinars. There's the
Right.
leverage of that. You don't even have to show up for your webinar if it's recorded. It will happen, and appointments will go ding, ding, ding on your phone, new appointment notification, with or without you showing up, with an automated webinar program. And that's something we do all the time. So I
Yeah.
love all that. But the first thing, Rob, and it's a really good question. You need to decide, guys, if you want to be an advisor that has the patience and the stiff neckness, the stubbornness to see it through. If you're not, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't test it. Don't try it. But okay, a test. Here's a webinar test. 12 months.
Yeah.
Doing one a month. That's a test.
Yeah.
Doing 1 or 2 is not a test.
100%. I've for years, even decades now. This January I'll be 20 years with Gradient, and that is what I've said time and time again with seminars in general, radio, and now with webinars. Like if you don't have at least 90 days of, I think maybe one of the words you were looking for was discipline.
Yeah,
If
for
you
sure.
don't have 90 days, 3 months worth of discipline to be patient, to work the system, to make sure that you have a real system to follow, if you don't have that, then let's not even have the conversation.
And we do all we can to build a successful framework around people. And so, to be really fair, a 90-day, 180-day test, that's going to cost money.
Right?
I mean,
Correct.
you're paying for ad spend. You've got to have a good calendar system like Calendly or something.
Yeah.
You've got to pay for the real Zoom account. You can't get away with the freebie. So a lot of people already have that, but
Sure.
the marketing does cost money.
Mhm.
And so I get it. If someone doesn't want to really decide that, yes, I'm doing this and yes, it's going to work, great. Don't do it.
Yep.
But if you do jump in, be ready to spend the money, and you should expect an ROI.
Yeah.
The longer you stick with it, the better you become.
Very, very powerful, man. And once again, time and time again, it just proves the advisors that when they stop focusing on the transactions and really focus on transformation, that's when systems really work. And I don't care if you're doing radio, TV, whatever, but the thing is that the philosophy that I've said for years is if you lead with your heart, the rest will follow.
Yeah.
And that's definitely true with the webinar world. And it's can't believe how time flies on this
Oh
thing.
my goodness.
Th-
You
th-
know,
This this has been incredible, man. I really appreciate your insight, your experience, everything that you and the team over at RA Marketing has been doing to help our advisors reach and serve the families and their communities through education. Anything you'd like to throw out there, but before I wrap this thing up, man?
that's actually exactly why we are only in the financial services space.
Hmm.
As a marketing company, we believe in the good
Yeah,
that financial services professionals do in their communities and for people. I grew up fine, but we were a military family and things were always a little tight. And I know no one taught my parents they knew how to balance a checkbook. I mean, they're not dumb people. They
yeah,
were eventually very high earners too.
yeah,
But no one sat down and had the money talk with them, compound interest, and how to make your money work the best for you, how to avoid taxes as much as possible. Um, no one had that discussion. And I know the difference it could have made in their lives. And we see that all the time and we hear that story all the time. So just in the end, we're in this space doing good for people that do good.
yeah.
That's our whole goal. And webinars, among other things, can be a very powerful tool, in your tool belt.
I love it, man. Well, for every advisor that's out there listening right now, and anyone that's supporting advisors or they're within a firm of an advisory firm, if you want to learn more about how Keith and the whole team over at RA Marketing help advisors run webinars and seminars and just overall marketing, more importantly, how to convert prospects to clients through that marketing, head out to radigital.com.
Oh,
Right,
it's
Keith?
Go RA Digital.
My apologies. Let's
Yep.
start over. GoRAdigital.com. Once again, GoRAdigital.com. My apologies. And if you'd like a guide that we have put together and that will definitely support everything over at RA Marketing to help you start planning your own, you can request what we call our webinar playbook for financial advisors, and you'll head out to my website, which is simply evolvewithgradient.com/ace team. Once again, evolvewithgradient.com/ace team. And but before we wrap up, to every advisor listening right now, thank you. You don't hear it enough, but you are making a real difference out there. You're not just managing assets; you are managing peace of mind. You are guiding families through uncertainty, and that's what matters. And as always, before you go, be sure to like and follow and share this episode with another advisor who might need to hear it, because the more advisors who can lead education with purpose, the stronger our profession, our industry can become. And once again, this has been Unfiltered and Unstoppable. I'm Rob Romesburg. As always, stay disciplined, stay focused, and keep making a difference. Thanks again, Keith.
Thank you, sir.